So I just want to talk a little bit about the sacrum this morning and do a little work specifically for the sacrum during this practice. I'm thinking about it because it's wood stacking season, but any asymmetrical work like raking or vacuuming, mopping can aggravate the sacrum. And I realize I haven't really talked about it in this session. So the sacrum is the lowest part of the spine. It includes the tailbone. It's the bottom 5 vertebrae of the spine. And when we're little, they are independent. These segments move. That's why a baby can suck their toes so easily. But as we move into adulthood, they fuse into one piece. And the trouble is the juncture with the pelvis. They're joints, and they don't have a lot of movement, but they do have a little movement. And sometimes when that joint between the pelvis and the sacrum gets askew, or gets too mobile, or gets unequally mobile on the two sides, that's when we have pain way down low. There's also a difficulty because this is the bottom of the lumbar spine. So here we have mobility, and in this joint there's a joining of a mobile structure and a immobile structure. So that lumbosacral joint is often trouble too, because we have movement next to no movement. So the the key for the sacrum is the deep core muscles, the transverses. And even though it doesn't actually go all the way around at that level, the image of it going all the way around at that level really does support the sacrum. And it does, the transversus fibers are here in the front between the hip points. So your deepest transverse abdominis muscles really will help the sacrum. And that's why we're always working on the inner core first. The obliques really are not going to give you much help, so we got to get the muscles that are underneath the obliques as well. I used to have a lot of sacral immobility and discomfort in my 20s. Now I hardly ever do. So you really can make the situation better. In this practice, we're going to use either a ball, or you could take a rolled of towel, or even a pillow and fold it in half, something to put between the knees. So I'm going to show you a few things in the course of the workout that will help the sacrum. And FYI, so if your sacrum is bothering you, you're going to have pain down here. If it's here, this is lumbar spine. That's different. Although the transversus is still helpful there too. So we really want to know how to access and strengthen the deep transverse abdominis muscles. So settle down into constructive rest pose with the knees bent, feet in line with the sit bones. Let your arms be comfortably away from the body, shoulder blades spread. And let yourself just take a moment to relax into the floor. Notice the body. Bring your attention to the back of the pelvis. And see if you can feel or imagine that wedge of the sacrum. So go down the spine. The tailbone, the coccyx, is the very end of the sacrum. And it spreads out slightly, like a triangle. And you can feel how it is just seated in relationship with the pelvic bone. So often if there's some discomfort in the sacrum, that image of spreading the back pockets can be a little bit of very simple relief. If you imagine putting your hands in your back pockets and then spreading the back pockets gently away from each other. Take a couple breaths with that image. Sometimes just that simple imagery can help release some tension in that joint between the sacrum and the pelvis. Now bring your attention up slightly to the lumbar curve, and here you have the little space between the back and the mat. Relax those muscles as well. And take a moment to move up the spine so you can feel the back ribs and let them settle into the mat. The shoulder blades be broad and flat. And feel the back of the head sinking into the mat. And both feet sinking evenly into the mat. And then go back to the image of your back pocket spreading. I'd like you to place your hands on your waist and just relax the muscles with your hands on the waist. So you're touching the soft area between the ribs and the pelvis. Now imagine you have a hip hugger belt on underneath your skin. So it's low across the hip points, but it's an internal belt. This is the function of the transversus. It's an internal support belt. Now the more exterior muscles underneath your hands on the waist are the obliques. So I want you to relax everything. Feel that softness in the waist. Then we're going to see if we can find just a little bit of engagement of the belt without bringing tone into the waist. Trying not to get the whole thing going at once, but focusing on the transversus. So inhale, prepare. Imagine a deep belt of support way inside underneath the skin. And with your exhale, very gently, see if you can snug that belt around the back of the pelvis over the hips without creating tension in the waist. There'll be a subtle engagement, and then relax with the inhale. Relax completely as you exhale. Let's try it again. Keep the waist soft. Be aware of this tone of the waist as you inhale. And then as you exhale, make that belt very deep, subtle, internal. You can actually engage the transversus without engaging the obliques. And relax with the inhale. And do nothing as you exhale. Give into gravity. And one more time. Inhale, prepare. And sneak that belt underneath your skin, underneath your waist muscles. And then relax with the inhale. And do nothing as you exhale. Relax your arms down to the sides, give into gravity. Now we're going to see if we can use just those deep transverse muscles to stabilize the position of the pelvis as we do some arm lifts. So keep it deep and subtle. Yes, of course, adding your obliques would make it easier to stabilize, but then you're going to subvert the action of the transversus. So let's get in touch with that. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, gently snug that belt around the inside, back of the pelvis, hips, cross the low belly. Inhale. inhale, arms float up. And exhale, lower back down. And try that again. Keep it deep and subtle. Inhale, arms float up. And exhale, picture that belt around the lowest part of the back, the spine, the hips, the low belly. And inhale, arms float up. And with the exhale, lower the arms down and relax that completely. Do that one more time. Inhale, arms float up. We're maintaining a neutral lumbar pelvis relationship just with the engagement of the transversus. Inhale, the arms float up. And then exhale, lower the arms down and relax the shoulders. And bring your hands behind the head, interlace the fingers behind the head and open the elbows out wide. Now we're going to explore the obliques. Engaging the obliques is not going to harm your sacrum, it's just that they're not the best support system for it. So now we're going to just explore the different quality of the obliques. As you inhale, feel the ribs flare out wide and pull up away from the mat a little bit. Then as you exhale, knit your ribs together in the front. Feel the front of the rib cage closing in. And then inhale, let the ribs flare. And then exhale, feel your back ribs and gently imprint the back ribs down to the mat. This has no effect on the lower part of the spine. We're up in the thorax here. And inhale, relax that. And exhale, unflare the front ribs. And relax with the inhale. And exhale, imprint the back ribs. And relax with the inhale. Try that one more time. Inhale, let the ribs flare. And exhale, unflare them in the front. Inhale, relax. And exhale the back ribs into the mat. And then relax with the inhale. Now we're going to take a head lift and we're going to use the inner core muscles, pelvic floor, the belt of the transversus, and the obliques. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, engage the inner core, feel that transversus wrap around, knit and imprint the ribs, and then take a little head lift. And inhale, lower back down. Keep the lower back stable the whole time. Do it again with the exhale. Gather the inner core. Really feel that deep wrapping around first. Then knit and imprint the ribs and release the head up, keeping the lower back still. Inhale, lower back down. One more time. Exhale, inner core. Wrap the transversus around, knit and imprint, and lift the head. And then release back down. And bring your hands out from underneath your head. Relax them at your sides. And give into gravity. Soften completely. Now we're going to bring the thumbs onto the lower ribs and the fingers onto the hip points. Take an inhale. As you exhale, picture your back pocket spreading out again. And then keep them spread as you inhale. With your exhale, wrap that belt around. Pull your ribs down the diagonal, letting them reach all the way to those spread back pockets on the opposite side. And then we're going to float the right foot up off of the mat, keeping the pelvis stable, back pocket spread, and lower the foot back down. Re-engage the inner core, knit the ribs down the diagonal to the opposite back pocket, and then lift the right foot up. The left foot up for alternating sides, and lower back down. And again, reset, inner core, wrap each set of ribs to the opposite back pocket, lift the right foot up with the stable pelvis, and lower back down. Re-engage the inner core, take the ribs down to the opposite side back pocket, and lift the left foot, and lower back down. One more with each leg. Re-engage the inner core. Take each set of ribs down on the diagonal to the opposite back pocket and lift the right foot and lower back down. And re-engage inner core. Wrap the ribs around again and lift the left. Keep stable and lower back down. Let everything relax for a moment. Keep spreading your back pockets. Continue to feel the front of the pelvis and the rib cage. Re-engage your inner core and wrap the ribs. Stabilize the pelvis. Bring the right foot up off of the mat. And now make sure you imprint the back ribs and bring the left foot up as well. Keep your pelvis and rib cage steady as you bring the left foot up to the ceiling. Then we're going to float the arms to the ceiling, straighten the elbows and drop the shoulders. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the back of the neck long, and then bend your knees a little bit more tightly, and using your abdominal muscles, pull your knees in towards your chest. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep your knees together, and then we're going to make a small circle. I want you to keep your belt snug around your hips as you circle the knees around. Roll them around one way. Keep your shoulders still, and then roll them around the other way. See if you can contain all the movement below the waist. Keep your rib cage still and your shoulders steady. Back into the center, and rock the knees the other direction. Roll around the pelvis and back in. Shoulders stay relaxed. Knees are hugged into the chest. And roll the other way. Draw a circle on the ceiling with the knees. One more time in each direction. Keep the shoulders completely relaxed. Keep thinking about that internal belt support you have around your hips and your lower back and sacrum. Roll one last time. Then we're going to bring one hand to each knee and gently pull the thighs in towards the belly. And then move the knees away until your arms are straight and your tailbone's back down. Spread your back pockets. Take your feet as high as your knees and relax your arms down at your sides. Arms wide, palms up. We're going to work with the feet. But first let's find the belt around your pelvis. Get that nice and snug and then start some ankle circles. You can breathe while you engage your transversus and reverse your circles. Every time you exhale, you can think about that belt snugging down a little bit more. Then still the feet, flex them back, and then we're going to go heel and reach out through the ball and then point the toes and then pull the toes back and then pull the whole foot back. Heel, ball, toe, come back with the toe, ball, heel. Reach out and reach back. Once more, stretch out through the ball of the foot first, then point the toes and pull the toes back first, then flex the feet. Keep that flex and squeeze your toes in, and then spread your toes wide. And squeeze and fan. Take a moment to notice your transversus. Keep your belt snug around your pelvis. Lower back, squeeze, and fan the toes one more time. And then relax the feet. Keep your arms relaxed and pull the knees into the chest using the abdominal muscles. Then just relax the feet for a moment. Your lower back's going to be flat. Relax into gravity. Now bring your hands up onto the knees again and move the knees out away from the chest. Reestablish your neutral spine with the tailbone down. Engage your inner core, spread your back pockets and wrap the belt around. Then lift your feet as high as your knees. Move your hands down to the front of the thighs. Reconnect with that engagement of the belt around your hips and low belly. And with your exhale, press your hands into your knees into your hands. Isometric press, and then relax. And do that again. Exhale. First engage the deep core muscles really well, and then press hands into thighs, thighs into hands, and relax. Pelvis should stay steady. Lower back curve is maintaining neutral. Exhale to press. Inhale to relax. One more time. Re-engage the inner core first, then isometric press. And relax. Let the feet come down and then flop the knees out wide. One hand on each knee. Relax the knees out wide for a moment. And then start making some small circles using the hands to control the legs. Circle the thigh bones around the hip sockets. Relax the inner thighs and the front thighs. And then reverse. Stir the thighs the other way around the socket. And pull the knees into the chest. And once again, move the knees out and arms distance away. Feel the sacrum down, the tailbone on the mat. Reconnect with the inner core muscles. Wrap that belt around. Lift the feet as high as the knees. Relax your arms down to your sides. And now reconnect with your ribs. Reach them around to the opposite back pockets and go to the pistons. Exhale, lower one foot down to the floor and tap the toe and lift. Exhale the other side. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. And inhale, lift. One more set with each leg. And one hand to each knee. Pull the knees into the chest. Rock very gently side to side on the sacrum. And then once again, lift the feet as high as the knees. Reestablish your neutral spine. Reconnect with the pelvic floor. Wrap the belt around. Reach your ribs down to the opposite back pockets. Imprint the back ribs, then lower your right foot down to the mat. Keep your pelvis completely stable. Bring the left foot down as well. And then relax into neutral. And then roll to your side. If you have something you can use like a ball or a rolled towel or a pillow, we're going to grab that prop and place it between the knees and lie back down on the back. So we're going to reconnect with the inner core. Wrap the deep support muscles around the lower back and the back of the pelvis. And with the exhale, squeeze the knees into the ball or the pillow. And then relax with the inhale. Keeping the lower back completely steady. Exhale to squeeze and inhale to release. Want to feel the inner thighs. Even if you don't have any sacrum issues, this is really nice for your adductors or inner thigh muscles. Keep stabilizing neutral as you press in and release and press in and release, making sure that the spine stays neutral the whole time. Press in. Now maintain your press. If you're feeling strong, we're going to do the 100 with the ball. If you don't want the challenge of it, you can take the ball out. Reconnect with your inner core. Imprint the back ribs and make sure you're really supported here because we have both legs coming at once, up off of the floor. You can keep the knees bent or you can straighten the legs. Engage the inner core, press down into the floor with your palms, lift your head, and extend the legs if you want. And then exhale for 5 pulses, and inhale for 5. Exhale, and inhale. Broaden the back of the pelvis. Exhale for 5, and inhale. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. And one more set. Exhale, and inhale. And then re-anchor the belly, bend the knees. Lower your head down. Re-support around the pelvis. Make sure your back ribs are imprinted. Lower both feet down. Keep your neutral spine as you come back down into the floor. Let everything relax. And keep the ball between your knees. Reconnect with the inner core. Wrap your belt around and squeeze into the ball. And then we're going to maintain this neutral lumbar curve. Keep squeezing into the ball and do a pelvic lift. Press into the floor. Let the hips come up off of the mat. Moving in your hip crease. Stay supported around the pelvis and drop the hips back down. And do that 2 more times. Neutral spine. Squeeze into the ball and then lift your hips up. Your belt's wrapping around the whole time, so you've got support. And then hinge back down. And do that 1 more time. Exhale, squeeze, wrap the belt around, hinge up. And hinge back down. And then reconnect with the inner core, knit and imprint the ribs, lift your head, and take the ball out from between your knees. And lower the head and relax into gravity. Let your back pocket spread, completely release into the floor. Now often it's an asymmetrical activity that will bother the sacrum, so we're going to be very careful about the stability in the leg circles because it's an asymmetrical activity. But if you do in fact keep your pelvis well stabilized, you'll be able to keep the pelvis symmetrical even though you're doing different things with the legs. So I'm going to feel your lower back curve in neutral. And maintain that. Wrap your belt of muscles around the lower part of the back and the back of the pelvis and straighten the left leg out onto the floor. See if you can still remain level on the pelvis and bring the right knee into the chest. We're not going to flatten the back and stretch today just because I want you to continue to maintain your neutral pelvis. So feel the tailbone down, feel the wedge of the sacrum in contact with the mat. We're not curling the pelvis back or flattening the lower back. Keep supporting your belt and bringing your ribs around to the opposite back pocket as you straighten your right leg up. And bring your hands onto your pelvis and make sure it really stays still as you circle the legs slowly around. Bring the belt snug around the hips. Buckle it beneath the belly button. We want that support around the lowest part of the spine. And then reverse. And then bend your knee. Pull into the chest. Keep your lower back in its neutral curve. Don't let it go flat. Just pull the knee in. And then re-engage the belt, lower the foot down, keeping the pelvis still. And continue to stabilize it as you bend your left knee back into position. Relax completely. Spread your back pockets. Give into gravity. And then reconnect with your low belt of support. Keep the hips really steady. Notice the lumbar curve. That will let you know that you're keeping your pelvis still. And take your right leg out in front of you. Continue to maintain your neutral position. Lift the left foot up. Don't bring it all the way into the chest to flatten the back. Keep your neutral back. Reach down through the tailbone. Feel your belt wrapping around the hips and extend the left leg up to the ceiling. We have transverse to stabilizing the pelvis. Put your hand on the pelvis to feel that and then circle the leg around. Nice and slow and small. You do want your obliques wrapping to the opposite back pockets, but don't rely on them primarily. Rely on your belt around your hips. And then reverse. And then bend the left knee. Again, bring it towards the chest, but don't let the lower back flatten. And keep your belt snug around your hips as you bring the left foot to the floor. And then slide the right foot back into position and relax completely. And now we are going to work with the flattened back as we do some partial roll-ups. Engage the inner core first. Be sure you have your belt snug across your hips. And then tilt the pelvis. Feel the pubic bone pull in towards the belly button. Lower back going flat. Imprint the back ribs so you have the whole back reaching down into the mat. And then slide your right foot away from you on the floor and keep the lower back pressing down. And continue to flatten the lower back as you take the left foot out away from you. And then bring your hands behind your head. Take an inhale. Exhale. Scoop the belly in and raise the head. We're just coming part way up. See if you can keep your legs parallel to each other. Keep your belt wrapping around your hips, your belly button moving to the spine. Back ribs imprinting, and breathe there. And then with control, slowly unfurl, release the head back down to the mat. Once you get down, you can let everything relax for a moment. Take a slow, relaxed breath. Notice that your spine is a little extra extended. And then engage the inner core and the pelvic floor. Bring your legs into parallel. Scoop the belly, tilting your pelvis so your lower back gets flat, imprinting the ribs. Belly button into the spine and roll part way up. Keep the legs parallel and the belly button pulling back into the spine. And continue to breathe. Good. Keep thinking of the tail pulling between the legs, the pubic bone to the belly button, the belt around your hips. And roll down. And let everything relax. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, find the inner core. Wrap that low belt around. Bring the legs into parallel. Scoop the belly. Bring pubic bone to belly button. Imprint the back ribs and lift. And breathe there. Yes, you are using your obliques quite a bit here, but see if you can stay connected beneath the waist as well. And then keep pulling the pubic bone into the belly button. Roll yourself slowly down and relax. Complete release. Now we're going to take a little spinal twist. If your sacrum is really bothering you someday, and you might feel like, oh, I need to do something, I would say do not do a twist. Twisting can bother the sacrum. So let's just do this carefully. Bring the belt around the hips so you're really securing the pelvis. Bring the right knee into the chest and keep thinking about your belt around your hips and slowly begin to move the right knee towards the floor on the left. If you have any discomfort in the right sacrum, just stop there and you can just concentrate on the hip. If you're fine, of course, go into the twist. Breathe slowly as you twist. Sometimes when we are having pain sensation in a muscle, we feel like we want to stretch it. That's not always the answer. Sometimes stabilizing it is the answer. going to bring both knees into the chest. And go ahead and let the back flatten gently. Rock a little in the sacrum to see how you're doing there. And then extend the right leg out onto the floor. Before you start twisting, pull your belt snug around your hips. And then go slowly in the direction of the right side. And if there starts to be any tug around the base of the spine, back off a little and just stretch the hip. If you're fine at the sacrum joint, then you can bring your knee over as far as you like. And breathe slowly there. And then roll to the back. And once again, bring both knees into the chest. And rock gently back and forth on the sacrum. Then move the knees away from the chest and bring the feet as high as the knees. Reconnect with your inner core, feel your belt pull snug across the lowest part of the back, the lower part of the spine, across the hips. Imprint the back ribs, keep your neutral lumbar curve as you lower your left foot down, and continue to stabilize as you lower the right foot down. And pause there. Let your back pocket spread. Let the body relax into gravity. Now we're going to turn on to the left side. So the clamshell muscles are great, both protection against sacral instability and a solution if there is some instability going on. So we're going to take our time with the various positions of the clamshell this morning. Just start in the 45-degree position, which is the one where it's the comfortable middle position. Your knees are at the front of the mat, your feet are underneath you. Left arm under the ear or support under the head with the arm forward. Line the two knees up, one on top of the other. This is going to draw the right hip forward. And place your hand on the top of the right hip. Then relax completely. Try to make the right side as soft as possible. Let go of any gripping in the inner thighs or the hips. And then really concentrate just on the inner core muscles. Find your pelvic floor, find the belt, and wrap the belt very specifically right around where the hip points are and all the way around. So you've got supporter on the pelvis and across the lowest part of the belly. We're going to try to keep the left leg relaxed and the left waist relaxed, just using the inner core. And start with an exhale. Roll the right thigh out in the socket and float the knee up towards the ceiling. Notice if you're doing it with your right butt or if your left leg is doing it. Relax the left leg as much as you can and roll the right thigh out in the socket. Nice and slow. Keep your belt snug around your hips. And lower down. Exhale slowly. Make sure the belt is snug first and come back up. Trying to find the stability around the pelvis, the work in the right buttocks. One more time. And release. And I want to do 5 more there. I want to let everything go. I know sometimes we do these quickly and we're going to pump up the muscles, which feels good. But this also will really bring you into focus. So let's again relax the left side, engage the inner core,
Feel that belt, and then slowly roll the thigh out in the socket. And just keep asking the left buttock and the left thigh to do less, the belt around your waist to do more stabilizing, and the right buttock muscles to do more of the rolling of the thigh. And then relax. Completely relax. And then let's find a slightly deeper bend in the knee, 90 degrees at the hip, knees and the feet at the front of the mat. Again, let the left side relax, engage the inner core. Wrap the belt snug around the hips. And we're going to do 10 here, 2 sets of 5. Roll the thigh out. Keep your belt snug. Keep your waist relaxed, your shoulder, your hip relaxed on the left side. Concentrate on your belt coming all the way around and the rolling out of the right thigh in the socket. And when you've done with 10 of those, relax completely. And then we're going to take the final position where you have 0 degree flexion at the front of the hips, moving your knees directly underneath you or as close to that as possible. Make sure that your right hip is still forward. We don't want to roll back. So we have the neutral position in the spine. Get your belt snug around your hips. Roll the thigh out in the socket, using the support of the deep inner core muscles to stabilize the pelvis. Keep the left arm and shoulders relaxed. Left arm and shoulder relaxed. Belt snug around the hips. If you need your belt up a little bit higher on the waist this time, you can. When you're done with 10 of those, I want you just to turn onto your stomach and rest your hands underneath your forehead. Spread the legs comfortably. Notice the back of the pelvis. Let your back pocket spread. And then extend your arms straight out in front of you and place the forehead on the floor. Keep the legs as relaxed as you can. Engage your inner core muscles. Gently pull your ribs together and then raise your chest and your head off of the mat. Pull the shoulders down the back. Keep the belt snug around the pelvis, around the sacrum, and lower back down. Relax. Just twice more. Engage the inner core. Keep the legs relaxed. Gently knit the ribs together and float the chest and head up. And release back down. Let everything relax. And one more time, set up the inner core, wrap that belt low around the hips, gently knit the ribs and raise the chest and the head. And relax back down. We move slowly into a child's pose. Bring your hips back to your heels. Then we're going to come over to lie on the right side. "45-degree hip flexion to begin. Comfortable bent knee position with the knees up at the front of the mat, the feet underneath you. Line the knees up, hand on the left hip. Relax the right side of the body into the floor. Keep the right shoulder and ribs and waist relaxed as you engage the inner core. Stabilize the pelvis, and then roll the thigh out in the socket to lift the knee. Exhale each time you're lifting this today. Take it nice and slow. After you've done the first 5, relax completely, let everything go. Notice if you're getting any gripping in the right buttock and thigh, let that release that into the floor. Then reset the inner core, and 5 more times. Get the power from the left buttocks, not the press of the right leg into the floor, but really use the external rotators on the left side. Keep your belt snug around your hips. And relax everything. And relax into gravity. Release the right side. And then move into the 90-degree hip flexion. Bring the feet and the knees to the front of the mat. Let the right side relax into the floor. Be sure that the knees are lined up. The left hip is a little bit farther forward than the right. And engage the inner core. Feel your belt wrap around. 2 sets of 5. Slowly lift on your exhale. Keep your belt snug around your hips. Check in with the right leg. If it's engaged, relax everything, and then do 5 more. Keep engaging with your belt. And let everything release. And then finally we'll move to the 0-degree flexion. Bring the knees straight underneath you. Continue to relax the right side. Find your inner core, find your belt. You can move your belt up around your waist if that's helpful. 2 more sets of 5 here. Stability around the pelvis. Top thigh rolling out in the socket. And then 5 more. And relax. Then we're going to turn onto the back. Take a relaxed neutral position for a moment. Sink into gravity, spread your back pockets. Then we'll stretch the piriformis, the external rotators in the butt. We want to get into the position with a stabilized pelvis. So find your inner core, wrap your belt around, and lift the right foot up. Then bring the right foot over to the left knee. We're still in neutral here. Re-engage the inner core and lift the left foot up. Now, if you are feeling any discomfort in the sacrum, you might prefer to stay in neutral. So you can keep your neutral spine, or you can pull the left leg in a little bit farther. In either case, our goal is to find stretch in the right buttock. So we're going to do a full 90-minute stretch here, 90-second stretch here. So you can have the back flat, but please be even on the back of the sacrum. And once you're in place, you can let everything go. Now you have the floor stabilizing you. Relax the shoulders. Let the breath move slowly. Find a position that gives you the best stretch in the right buttock. So you can decide how much flat or neutral spine you prefer. Keep relaxing the breath. Let it move in and out slowly. Bring the attention down into the right buttock. If you feel pull in the back of the sacrum, just ease off of the flattening of the back. Thirty more seconds. Now if you have your back flat, back away from the flatness of the back and come to the neutral spine. Reconnect with your belt around your hips and lower the left foot down, keeping your neutral spine. Stay well supported, and then bring the right foot down to the mat. Release into gravity, soften completely, spread the back pockets. And reset the inner core. Make sure you have your belt nice and snug. Lift the left ankle up to the right knee. Keep the security around the lower back and pelvis as you lift the right foot up. And then we're emphasizing the stretch in the left buttock. So feel what is an appropriate place. Support the right leg. Stay even on the back of the pelvis. Be sure you're not rocking over to the left side. And find the amount of flatness you would prefer in the back. Let the maximum stretch in the buttock match with good comfort in the back of the sacrum. And then relax into the stretch. So we have to stay in a stretch for a minimum of 90 seconds if we're trying to get to the level of the fascia, of the connective tissue, not just the muscle. It takes a little bit longer to get into that. And ideally you can stay in a stretch, so if you're stretching your hamstrings, for up to 3 minutes. Continue to relax in the stretch. Spread the back pockets. You can keep the back pockets spreading, back of the pelvis even, sacrum spread wide. 30 more seconds. And then back away from the flat back. Reconnect with your belt of support. Keep anchoring. Stabilize the neutral pelvis as you lower the right foot down, and then the left. And then relax into neutral. Let the back pocket spread. Now we're going to continue to work with neutral spine. A lot of emphasis around the transversus muscles that are low in the back as we go through the abdominal series. We of course need our obliques here too. So let's set the inner core, gather the pelvic floor, wrap the belt around, and then reach the ribs down on the diagonal to the opposite back pocket. Raise the right foot up off the floor. Imprint the ribs. Lift the left foot up. Pull the front ribs together. Bring the chin into the notch of the neck to lift the head. Extend one leg out, both hands on the bent leg, and then stabilize the pelvis and lower back as you alternately straighten and bend one leg at a time. The hands are just guiding the knee, not pulling it. Keeping your neutral and gentle touch. Outside hand to ankle, inside hand to knee. And then bring both hands, one hand onto each knee. Lower your head down. Relax the neck. Then gently pull the thighs in towards the chest. Feel the flattening of the lower spine. And then move the knees out away from the chest. Notice the neutral spine coming into place. Do that again. Pull the knees in and flatten. And then move the knees away and return to neutral. Now the next exercise has this idea of pulling the knees towards the chest, but we're not flattening the back. So please do not let your lower back go flat as we do the double leg stretch. Engage the inner core. Wrap your belt around the neutral pelvis, knit and imprint the ribs, and lift your head. Bring your feet as high as your knees, and keeping your neutral lumbar curve, exhale, reach your hands and your feet away from the center, then inhale, bend the knees. Place one hand on each knee without flattening the back. Exhale, reach out away, knit and imprint the ribs. Inhale, come back around without flattening. You're keeping your belt snug around your hips, low belly, lower back the whole time. Exhale, reach out, neutral spine. Inhale, come back in, maintain the neutral spine. Reach away on your exhale and come back in on the inhale. Do it one more time. And then lower the head and pull the knees into the chest. Relax the neck. So the single straight leg is a big asymmetrical movement, but when we did the leg circles, you practiced stabilizing with an asymmetrical movement. So we're going to do that again. Move the knees out away from the chest to find your neutral lumbar. Engage the inner core. Wrap the belt around nice and snug. Knit and imprint the ribs. Lift your head. One leg up, one leg out and down. And then switch. And keep the neutral lower back the whole time. And switch. And switch. Good. Keep wrapping the belt around. Now both legs up, bring your hands behind your head, rewrap the belt, and lower both feet down towards the floor a little bit, and bring them back up. No movement in the lower back. Keep the back pocket spread, your belt snug across the low back, the sacrum. One more time, keep your knees straight as you lower down, and come back up. And now bend the knees, head down, one hand to each knee, and draw the knees into the chest. Feel the back flatten, rock slightly from side to side. To finish the abdominal series, we're doing the crisscross. When we do the crisscross, there's a lot of activity going on, but never rocking side to side. If you feel that your pelvis starts to rock, I'd like you to put your feet down on the floor and do it with the feet down on the floor instead. And move the knees away from the chest. Find your neutral lower back. Lift your feet as high as your knees. Hands behind the head. Set the inner core. Wrap your belt around, knit and imprint your ribs, and lift your head. And we're going to bicycle the legs and reach on the diagonal with the opposite armpit. Pelvis absolutely still. If you have any doubt about that, put your feet down and just do the upper body. Reach across with the armpit. The whole shoulder girdle and rib cage moving in one piece. Pelvis stabilized. Back pockets are still spread. And then bring the knees in, put the head down. Gently rock. Come back to the center. Move the knees out away from the chest and lift your feet so you're in your neutral spine. Relax the arms down, engage the inner core. Knit and imprint the ribs. Lower the right foot down. Keep the pelvis still. Lower the left foot down. And relax. Sink into gravity. And then roll to your side to sit up. I'm just going to show you one little quick fix for the sacrum. So if you don't have any problem going on right now, you can try it on both sides, but keep this in your toolbox. So say my right sacrum is bothering me. I'm going to take my hand or my arm between my knees. If the right side is what's hurting me, right elbow into right knee, right hand against the left, inner thigh, inner knee, and then I'm going to press my right knee into my elbow. Press. So do this a few times. If you feel fine in your sacrum, we're going to do it both sides. If there's one side that needs some attention, then you'll just do that side. Think about your belt gently wrapping around.
that. And we'll do the other side. Again, assuming that you're fine in your sacrum, we'll do both sides to come even. Belt wrapping around and press. Now we're pressing the left knee into the left elbow. But if it's the right side that's bothering, you can just stay and do more with the right side. Relax that, and then let's just place the soles of the feet together. Lift the chest up, drop the chin down, relax. Do a gentle forward bend. If you do in fact have sacrum problems, I have a couple other things, but it takes a bolster, so I'm not going to assume that you all have a bolster. But if you're having any issues, you can let me know privately and I could perhaps give you a little bit more instruction. So some more info for your toolbox. Hope you're doing well. Enjoy your outside chores, and see you soon. Okay, thanks. Hey Liza, good morning.